The year was 1973. Motocross racing in the United States was still in its infancy. America was dazzled by the Europeans who virtually dominated the sport both here and abroad. Names like De Coster, Wolsink, Michelob, and Gabors. The days when dual shocks producing 6 to 8 inches of travel adorned the factory race bikes. The sport of motocross quickly gained in popularity, but us Americans would not be outdone by the Europeans. It was back then that a few dedicated individuals shared a dream to create an organization that gave youngsters the opportunity to learn and compete in motocross. The California Mini Motorcycle Club was founded that year. Since then, America's eventual domination of the sport has been through the dedication and spirit of riders like Ron Lechine, Scott Burnworth, Michael Craig, and Rick Johnson. All these racers share more than one common bond. They're not only legends in the motocross world, but they have all raced with CMMC when they were youngsters. Who will be the motocross stars of tomorrow? Quite possibly riders like CMMC's 1991 class champions. In the Pee Wee class, rider number 4, Chris Tocco. Repeating last year's performance in the 0 to 8-year-old 60cc class, rider number 28, Chris McNatt. Dominating the 9 to 11-year-old 60cc class, a talented rider worth watching, number 7, Scott Conley. Last year's bridesmaid is this year's champion, taking the 9 to 11-year-old 80cc class by storm. Rider number 2, Stormin' Daniel Norman. In the highly competitive 12 to 16-year-old 80cc and Super Mini classes, the king of the 80s, number 46, Tyler King. Another double class winner in both the 125cc and 250cc class, number 170, Dennis Dolan. Cycle Parts West is proud to present the following Bob Leppold video production, Barona 91, the Year in Review. The following home video is brought to you in part by Cycle Parts West, your one-stop location for discount accessories and name brand riding apparel. Cycle Parts West, open 7 days a week. Marty Smith Motocross Schools, providing one-on-one and group instruction by former national motocross champion Marty Smith, and by Smitty's Surf and Sport, street smart wear for the fashion-conscious racer. Famous Maker surfwear, surfboards, wetsuits, and accessories. That's Smitty's Surf and Sport. The 1991 CMMC season at Barona Oaks Raceway was full of exciting and memorable moments. More than 400 racers competed in every class, from the Pee-wees to the Superfast 250cc class, with everyone contributing to create another year of memories, another year of fun, another year at Barona Oaks Raceway. Racing with CMMC means many things to many people. Let's hear why racers and parents choose to race at Barona Oaks Raceway with CMMC.
I feel very fortunate to be able to come and race with CMMC here at Barona because Barona really caters to the kids. It's a family-oriented track. Everything that they do here is for the kids, and it's just a wonderful place to be. It's like being on a picnic with entertainment. We really enjoy it. The people here are very friendly, and you see a lot of parents coming closer together with their children and being able to share in the experience of being here and helping each other.
There's a lot of nice people up here, a lot of nice families. We met a lot of people. It's a lot of fun. My daughter comes out now. She really enjoys it. He's riding a lot better, and it's fun.
We enjoy racing at Barona Oaks a lot. It's a lot more family-oriented than most places. We've raced at a lot with other organizations and at a lot of other tracks. And Barona Oaks is definitely the best, particularly for a family unit. It's like one big family here.
I'd have to consider Barona one of my favorite places to race. I think it's the setting, oak trees. It's a non-profit club that organizes and runs the races. And it's primarily for kids. It's what it's all about, is to put this program together for kids. And it's a very family-oriented track.
We love Barona Oaks. It's a great racetrack. A lot of family stuff going on here. A lot of great people. A lot of hard work from people that I know never get thanked enough, and we do thank them. We appreciate all the hard work that they do to keep this track going and keep the kids going.
The biggest reason that we like riding at Barona Oaks is because when we come here, there's a lot of competition. There's more kids in Scott's age group every time we're here than any place else that we race. The track is technical but safe, and it teaches the kids a lot about racing that they don't get anyplace else. And we've raced all over the country trying to find places like this.
It's just fun. It's a family deal that we got going here, and everybody likes to camp out, and it's sort of a mini track. It's a little smaller than some of the tracks. Some people call it Supercross, and the kids love it.
The family gets more involved. They have an old farts class where all the parents can race, or any parent can race if they like. On Saturday nights, they stay out here and we camp out sometimes and sit around by the fire and stuff like that.
Barona's incredible. They just, I mean, I work on the track and stuff, but I mean, we just try to do a really good job. You know, the track, I like the layout of the track. It's more Supercross style. I don't like tracks that are just wide open all the time, you know, not technical at all. And it's just a really great place. I love it here, you know. I'll be here till I'm 21 and bring my kids out here when I have kids, and I hope it's still here.
We love racing at Barona. We do go to other tracks on the other weekends, on off weekends, but we love it here. It's our home. It's Sean's home track. We love it dearly. We love the people, the kids, the parents. We all get along real well. It's really good for the kids. The kids learn a lot from each other. We have a good time. Every time we're out here, we just really enjoy ourselves, and we travel a long ways to get here, probably further than most people do. We live 3 hours away from here, but we really enjoy it here, and we enjoy the people. Sean loves this track more than he likes any other track that he rides on, and he's excelled here, and he's done really well, which has made him better at other tracks also, and we're real happy about that. And this is our home, away from home.
Barona's great. The atmosphere, it's just being out here, just so kick back. You just have a nice weekend just to enjoy people. Everybody's great out here, just, you know, friends, lots of friends, nice, you know, it's perfect track, everything. The competition level is what I like a lot. It's really high, really great.
By far, the best testimonial to CMMC comes from the motocross mom, Gail Webb. Gail travels the country promoting safety in not only motocross, but in other sports like bicycling, skateboarding, and snowboarding. Gail takes a firm stand against drugs with her Get High on Sports seminars. It's a real treat for everyone at Barona when Gail shows up to race and spend time with the kids. We spent a little time talking to Gail, and when it comes to the program at Barona, she's never at a loss for words.
Okay, here we are again, and I'm happy to be at Barona Oaks at the CMMC races again. It's quite a few races a year. You know, I never really noticed before until I really took the interest of coming here, and it's kind of a hard place for me to stay away from. With all the kids, it's probably one of the most positive places I have ever raced at. I actually see the moms and dads and the kids. If I didn't really know better, I would think the parents are out there racing too. All they need is the gear. That's how much positive feedback these kids are getting. It's the one thing that this mom really notices. And I think all these kids, they feel it too. The mom and dads out there cheering, their friends cheering. You see it at other racetracks too, but this here at Barona Oaks in the CMMC club of racers, it signifies one of the greatest feelings a parent can have, and the togetherness that we all need. Motocross, all sports, but it's just great to see these kids out here with that positive feedback. But here at Barona Oaks, I've noticed a lot of things. Besides the parents and the togetherness they have, a lot of people here take interest in the kids, and I'm sure they do in all the other sports that their children are into, skateboarding or bicycling. But in the sport of motocross, off-road riding on motorcycles, I mean, I come here and I see a tech inspection. Every single race day, they actually have a couple guys out here, parents, fathers, that take that enough initiative and protectiveness, I should say too, as a parent, to check every single rider's bike. And from the bike to the boots, the goggles, the gloves, the helmet, and all the riding gear, and the knee pads I hope all the kids are wearing underneath those flashy looking pants that they wear. Everybody promotes it here, and I, as what I do. My whole life is geared to safety in sports, and this has developed into one of the greatest safety in sport atmospheres I've ever seen. And the kids don't go, well, I don't want to wear it. You know, they all know it's the greatest thing. They have to wear it if they want to accomplish anything in life. You have to. It's not just a rule; it's a smart way to go. And I think the kids really realize that. And they've got, these kids really look flashy out here. And kids have to know that they can look good in safety gear too, and not, you know, some kids out down the block say, oh, you're a dork for wearing safety gear. That's wrong. That's so wrong. And this is what we try to tell the kids. And I really believe, and I know most of the parents here believe, that anybody that's really aggressive and really that's interested in their sport will wear the safety gear. At any rider that is going to progress in any sport, here we are here watching our young people race motocross. And in order to progress in motocross and become the stars that these kids want to be in life, they have to wear that safety gear. And all these kids realize it. I look around and you see them out there. I mean, they're taking care of their safety gear too. And that's what's important. They're making sure they have the right eye gear, the right gloves, there's no holes, the boots are fastened right. One mistake out there, and in any sport, we all know it, can put us out for a little bit of time. That's an element of risk, not only in motocross, but all sports. In fact, it's an element of risk. Life is an element of risk if you don't use common sense. And the parents here have really taught their kids common sense, and that spells out the word safety. A special thanks and congratulations and many, many years of success to all of you at CMMC here at Barona Oaks. You're really great. You are #1, definitely.
Safety in the sport of motocross, like Gail stresses, means wearing the proper equipment. There's just one place where you can find the most complete selection of name brand racing apparel from JT Racing, Axo Sport, Fox, and USA Racing. For men, women, and children. Helmets from Bell, BFE, and Shoei. Boots and kidney belts. Goggles and sunglasses from JT, Oakley, and Scott USA. Over 500 on and off-road tires in stock. We've got it all, so why go anywhere else but Cycle Parts West? Open 7 days a week with 2 locations to serve you. 3104 El Cajon Boulevard, just west of 805, and 459 Broadway in Chula Vista. Begin the 1992 season at Barona Oaks with help from Cycle Parts West. Once again, CMMC honors its Banquet Points champions. Let's take a look at our top riders for 1991. The Pee Wee class at Barona Oaks saw over 50 racers compete in 20 events during the 1991 season. Normally, this class is comprised of youngsters who are learning how to ride, much less race. But the determination displayed by all the Pee Wee racers produced nothing less than great racing action throughout the year. Right from the beginning of the season, defending Pee Wee champion John Hopkins was serious about repeating his 1990 performance. But as the season progressed, John found himself slipping to second in the point standings. Halfway through the season, John talked to us about his strategy for the remainder of the year.
I'm second place in the points in the Pee Wee class, and I just want to ride a little bit harder so I can just win the championship this year in the Pee Wee class.
His goal was cut short by the hard-charging riding style of number 4, Chris Tocco, and Italjet rider number 25, Emmett Kling. Emmett is a talented rider who was always right in the heat of the battle. Throughout the first half of the season, Hopkins, Kling, and Tocco all scored first-place finishes. But near the end of the year, Chris Tocco found the secret to winning races. Just pin it and hang on. Chris virtually dominated the competition for the rest of the season. We spent some time talking to Chris and his father, Bobby Tocco.
I tried real hard to get this. It hasn't been real easy because I had a lot of competition, like John Hopkins, James Bird, Corey McCummer, and a lot of other kids, Emmett Kling. I like to race motocross because my dad was 1972 motocross champion. My mom raced, and they're both number 4. So I picked number 4 because them two were number 4. So that's why I really like racing. I'd like to thank my mom, my dad, Grandma and Grandpa, Vision, Quaker State, Interlink, Alpine Star, Ankara, GPV Racing. That's it.
We started out, I bought him a little Pee-wee and would ride in the backyard. I'd chase him around the XR, and first he didn't want to ride the thing at all, and figured, well, let's ride together, and I'd ride with him and jump off the back, and he'd ride it, he'd get used to it after a while, and finally he started riding it and liking it. So our first race ever was out here at Barona Oaks, and Mom was in one corner, I was in the other corner. There's no way we could keep up with them falling down, and it's been a while, but a lot of time, a lot of effort involved. Ride with them a lot, put a lot of time in it. If you don't feel like riding, we don't ride, and basically it's just time. Being together, trying together, and doing it. Well, racing here out at Barona is really neat. You know, it's a family affair. There's been some times where things have been weird, but we've always been behind them. We love the atmosphere. We love the racing. It's one of the greatest tracks in the country for amateurs. And I just think this track will make him somebody when he grows up.
The Pee Wee class for 1992 proves to be as exciting as ever, with many talented riders like James Berg, Corey McComber, J.D. Santiago, and many more gunning for that #1 overall position. Chris Tocco will have to ride just a little harder to stay ahead of these guys. But this year, Chris holds something that will last a lifetime, the #1 title for 1991. The saying, history repeats itself, certainly applies to the results in the 0 to 8-year-old 60cc class. Kawasaki rider number 28, Chris McNatt, once again mirrored his performance of the 1990 season by clinching the overall title for 1991. Chris was able to accumulate a total of 93 points out of 14 races, but not without some fierce competition from number 15, John Hopkins, and number 24, Eddie Frischetti. In fact, all the racers who lined up in this class contributed to a season of great racing action. We talked to Chris McNatt about how it feels to be the 1991 champion and what his plans and goals are for next year.
Winning the championship this year hasn't been all that easy. With riders like Sean Hamblin and Johnny Hopkins, it's been kind of hard winning all these races this year and get enough banquet points. And I want to beat Sean Hamblin next year and Johnny Hopkins and maybe Derek Chase.
Tom McNatt has been instrumental in his son's racing success. We spent a little time talking to him about how he got Chris involved in motocross and their plans for next season at Barona.
Well, again, for the second year in a row, I got Chris involved in motocross because he needed something to do to keep him out of trouble. Being real athletic at a young age and real coordinated, I figured I had to have an outlet to keep him off the street. So we went to Ascot, and shortly thereafter he was racing. And you know, we paid our dues. We've been in the back, we've been in the middle, and the last 2 years he's been up towards the top. He's done real well this year with finishing second in Ponca and in Las Vegas, and finishing top 10 in Texas, and winning the mini nationals here at Barona. Hopefully next year, being that he's moving up to the 9 to 11 class, he'll still do real well here at Barona. I know he's really anxious to race with Sean again and Derek Chase. He's made a mistake once in a while and gone with them anyways, and he really likes racing with the faster kids. And like we said, we come out here for fun, so whether we win or lose, doesn't matter. It's all in fun. I know he's real anxious to get to the Golden State this year to make his going out of the 0 to 8 class a happening deal, and I know he wants to win that, and I'm sure he will. And he's really looking forward to going to Texas. He wants to beat Johnny Marley. Maybe this will be it.
The 1992 season at Barona in the 0 to 8-year-old 60cc class proves to be interesting, with Chris McNatt moving up to the 9 to 11-year-old division. All the riders competing in this class will come into the season with another year of experience under their belts. Watch for a new rising champion in 1992. The 9 to 11-year-old 60cc division could be considered as a transition point for riders making the switch from the 60s to the bigger and faster 80cc machines. Many of the racers in this class can be seen competing in the 60cc and 80cc races all in the same day. These are hot up-and-coming riders who will make the move someday to the 12 to 16-year-old division. But until that happens, these guys can be seen fiercely battling for the #1 spot in their class. Riders like number 3, Derek Chase, number 17, Jeff Rader, number 2, Daniel Norman, and the champion for 1991, number 7, Scott Conley. Starting with the very first race of the year, Scott's intentions for the season were evident, with him taking a first-place win. Number 3, Derek Chase in second, and taking a surprise third overall was number 12, Jennifer Nelson. But coming into the second scheduled event at Barona, Scott clashed with the veteran of this class, number 2, Daniel Norman. Daniel proceeded to give Scott a riding lesson by taking several back-to-back wins. Both Scott Conley and Derek Chase were right behind him with consistent second and third overall finishes. As the season progressed, Scott began to virtually dominate the competition, although he and Derek Chase occasionally swapped finish positions. Scott was totally in command of the field. This same dominance over the racers can best be compared to Rick Johnson's 1987 season. Rick won virtually everything in sight that year. Not unlike Rick Johnson, Scott promises to be a talented and successful racer in the years to come. Scott's not only good on the track, but he's also good at talking about his racing. He displays a surprising talent for his age during on-camera interviews. Scott was cool and focused when we talked to him about this season and his future plans and goals in racing.
Well, it feels good doing the junior cycle championship this year. Last year, I was in second in points behind Josh Tarantino. And what happened was during the end of the season, I broke my leg. And that took me out of it, and it opened the door for Daniel. And Daniel Norman got second, and I think I finished fourth. Now I pretty much have it wrapped up, and I just waiting for it. What I want to do is I just want to not really go real fast, not over my head or anything like that. I just want to race consistently and have good motos and hopefully move up into higher positions on the 80s, because I have a long time in the 80s. My major goal probably is to become a pro later in my life. The series I would most likely to compete in is probably Supercross, because there's a lot of spectators, a lot of fans, and it's fun for the riders, I think.
As with all the fathers whose sons race at Barona, Carl Conley is totally committed to his son's racing, giving Scott 100% of his knowledge and support. We asked Carl how he first got his son involved in motocross and what are their future plans and goals as a team.
Well, Scott started racing in Enduros. When I would go to Enduros, I used to race Enduros, and on Saturdays before some of the Enduros, they would have kids gatherings, and then I got injured and had to quit racing, and we started bringing Scott out to Barona Oaks, and he was 5. He's come a long way since then. Obviously, when he first got out here, he was getting his pants beat, even by Jennifer and some of the other little kids, and so he's come a long way, and we're real proud of him. It hasn't always been easy, but he's progressed really well. Well, next year we're going to take it easy, let him get used to the bigger bikes and the bigger guys that he's going to be racing against, and then we're going to take off maybe a year from going to the Nationals, and then we'll be right back at it in full force the year after that when he's ready to compete on that level. We've talked about his goals quite often, and at this point we just want to ride and progress as much as we can and do as well as we can without setting any demands on him. And he wants to stay in school, he wants to go to college, and if racing is part of that, then it'll be part of that. If not, then it's school.
The future of the 9 to 11-year-old 60cc class is a bright one, with up-and-coming riders like number 16, Bobby Beaupre, number 25, Tim Rasmussen, and number 26, Sean Hamblin. This class will be as competitive as ever. One rider to watch in the future is the most improved rider for 1991, Sean Hamblin. Sean displays an awesome talent for racing, considering the fact that he's a relative newcomer to the sport. We asked Darlin Hamblin how they got Sean involved in motocross.
Sean started off when he was 2.5 years old riding a motorcycle because his father raced desert. And he started off on a 3-wheeler and he got a little out of hand, so we bought him a Kawasaki and he couldn't even touch the ground. And we started off from then. After that, what happened was we used to go out to the desert a lot and race with a lot of friends and stuff. And what happened was one of our friends, our closest friends, looked at us one day and said, you know, you really ought to try Sean in motocross. And we said, okay. So what we did is we let him race Auto Grand Prix. That was his first 60 race, which is out in the desert. He did really well. He was the first 60 that came through, did very, very good. And from there, we took him to De Anza one afternoon, and we let him try out motocross for the afternoon. He decided he really liked it. So we had started at Paris, and we had found out about Barona, come out to Barona, and Sean started in the very, very back of the pack. And we only started about 8 months ago. Sean's only been racing for about 8 months. And from then, he's really excelled and he's done really well. We're real proud of him. The transition from 0 to 8, 9 to 11 was a little difficult for him, but he did very well. He's doing really good. We put him on an 80. He's done real well on his 80. And we're just really proud of him. But we have to thank our friends for letting us know that Sean had that ability.
And Sean's comments about being voted the most improved rider for 1991.
Feels great for me, but most others don't really know about it, so pretty soon they will. And I hope they find out pretty soon.
Congratulations to Scott Conley and all the 9 to 11-year-old 60cc racers at Barona. Thanks for giving us a season of great racing action. We're looking forward to seeing all of you next year. The 9 to 11-year-old ADCC class is also a division full of riders who are right in the critical part of their racing. This is the age where they learn the most about motocross and gain the confidence to step up to the more aggressive and faster 12 to 16-year-old classes. Every racer in this class shows that confidence and maturity, and none more so than this year's champion, number 2, Daniel Norman. Daniel battled with a whole field of talented riders this season, with racers like Scott Conley, Jerry Dostal, Derek Chase, and Joshua West to line up against. Daniel had to keep his cool, and Daniel is always cool, collected, and smooth. But let's listen as Stormin' Norman tells who provided him with the best competition in 1991.
Well, all year me and Jerry Dostal battled until he missed some races and I gained some points on him. And then just mostly from then on I've stayed ahead of him. And when he missed the race at the mini nationals, I pulled away a lot. So it's been from then on, it's been ahead of him.
Steve Norman, Daniel's father, talked to us about his son's performance in 1990 and how that affected the outcome of this year's results.
Came into this year after finishing second last year. He came into this season pretty confident. I mean, he knew he had an excellent shot at getting the overall title. So he's riding real well. He's riding confidently and smooth. That's the main thing. I like it when he rides smooth. Exactly, no crashes. The fast comes with the smooth. So that's what he concentrates on.
Finishing the season in 6th overall position was number 12, Jennifer Nelson. She's a fierce little competitor who loves to race every chance she gets. Her father, John Nelson, talked to us about Jen's racing and the Nelson family's involvement in motocross.
Well, Jennifer, I don't know, she's happy and she's fun. She loves to ride. And when she was on Pee-wees and 60s, she won a couple championships. And now that she's moved into the bigger classes, she's pretty much a rider, you know, a competitor. But she's not at the top of her class, but she loves it. She gets a lot of attention. I think that she'll keep riding. She loves to ride. She'll keep riding. We'll just see where she goes. Well, it's all we do. We love it. You know, I'm the president. Claudine's the scorekeeper. The kids are both racing. If we didn't do this, I don't know what we'd do. We love this place, and we're here every time it's open. We're here to do it.
The rider to watch next year is 3rd overall, number 22, Jerry Dostal. Jerry could always be seen battling with the front runners throughout the entire season. He'll be a real threat to ADCC riders at Barona next year. Here's some close-up shots of more 9 to 11-year-old ADCC riders who competed this year at Barona. Motocross racing is a demanding and technical sport. It can also be very dangerous. Pushing yourself beyond the limits of your abilities can have serious repercussions. The best way to increase your knowledge and riding skills are the same as with anything you learn. Go to school. Former national champion Marty Smith has made it possible for you to acquire those skills. Whether you're just a weekend warrior or aspiring to become a motocross pro, Marty Smith Motocross Schools provide you with clear, concise, and valuable training in the technique of motocross. Call today to reserve your spot in either group or one-on-one training sessions. Don't risk yourself by attending those other so-called clinics. We provide the best, so why settle for anything less? Marty Smith Motocross Schools. The Super Mini Division is without a doubt the premier class at Barona. Over 50 racers competed in 20 events in 1991, making this one of the largest classes all year and one of the most competitive. The racers in the Super Mini class reads like a who's who at Barona. Riders like Bobby Allen, Daniel Norman, John Raymond, Mike Metzger, Craig Decker, Josh Tarantino, and Dustin Nelson. But the king of the 80s at Barona in 1991 is number 46, Tyler King. Tyler's race results best illustrate how to win a points title without having to win every single race. Consistently placing in the top 3 at every race, Tyler was able to accumulate over 1,100 points for the year. Tyler's father, Bob King, tells us how he first got his son involved in motocross and their plans for next year.
Tyler actually got started riding on a little three-wheeler, Yamaha three-wheeler, and about that time he had a cousin who was actually racing out here at Barona, and we came out and watched a couple of races, and so I got him a two-wheeler, Yamaha, and he started racing when he was 7, and we've been at it for about 8 years, and he just turned expert in September of this year, and so that's kind of a new level for us to race at for 92. Our plans and goals for 1992 at the moment are to stay on 80s if we can get some help, go to all the nationals, which we haven't done for about 2 years. I think right now he's real competitive in his class, and we should, barring injury, should have a real good year. So we're looking forward to it, and we're geared up for 92.
Placing second in points for 1991, number 2 Dustin Nelson came back from an injury that kept him out of action for the first 3 months of the season. Dustin plans on coming into the 92 season healthy, fit, and ready to win. We talked to Dustin about his plans for next year.
Well, hopefully I won't have no knee injuries or any injuries at the start of the year for anybody to get a head start on me. And I'll just be consistent throughout the year.
Coming out of the 9 to 11-year-old class to compete in the 12 to 16-year-old level, third overall, number 56, Josh Tarantino, found the competition to be pretty intense. Mechanical problems plagued him for several races, causing him to slip in points somewhat. But once those were eliminated, Josh was able to do what he does best, and that's go wide open. We talked to Josh about how winning last year's 9 to 11-year-old points title has helped him to compete at the 12 to 16-year-old intermediate level, and what his plans and goals are for next year.
Being last year's champion, it's kind of helped me and not helped me because I've been used to winning a lot, and then in this class it's a harder class, so you got to get used to taking seconds and knowing that's good. And I've been doing a lot better than I thought I would this year, and I've just been trying to stay up with Dustin. It's hard, but I'd just like to thank Axel, Renthal, Scott, Maxima, Pledges, White Brothers, VP and Rad Racing, and my mom and dad, and grandma and grandpa, because they've helped me a lot. I couldn't have done it without them. My plans for this year will probably do the Trans-Cal and the Mini Nationals, and my goals are to win the Mini Nationals and the Trans-Cal and just start progressing. And next year, I want to go to Vegas and probably Ponca and Tennessee, and my goals are to win those. And I want to go to Florida, but I don't know if my dad will take me that far.
When Josh returns to Barona in 1992, he'll be a little older and wiser. But so will all the other riders competing in the Super Mini class, especially Tyler King. With the 1991 championship wrapped up, Tyler is the undisputed king of the 80s. But there's going to be a whole pack of hungry racers looking to dethrone him in 1992. While we're on the subject of royalty, let's talk about the queen of the 80s, number 38, Jody Hollow. Jody is truly an inspirational rider. Competing against all those guys doesn't seem to bother her. In fact, she doesn't mind beating them either. Here, Jody tells us why she likes racing motocross and what she thinks about her fellow competitors.
It's really fun and it's competitive and it's fun to beat boys. Well, when I first started, I was really intimidated because I thought, like, if I came in last place, everybody would tease me and everything, but I never got last place, so I don't have to worry about it.
If Jody Hollow is the queen of the 80s, then 4-year-old Lindsay Tilton is most certainly the princess of the Pee-wees. In this great footage, shot during a Pee-wee race this year, we get a feeling of what it's like to race right along beside her. Everyone at Barona loves to watch Lindsay ride, and we hope to see more of her in the years to come. To see how the season went in the 12 to 16-year-old 80cc class standings, try rewinding this video and playing back the Super Mini segment. The results from both classes were a carbon copy of each other. Tyler King competed in 14 races out of the scheduled 20 events, compiling a total of 244 points, topping riders Dustin Nelson, Josh Tarantino, Craig Decker, Mike Metzger, and Tim Tilton. Bad luck plagued this class throughout the season. Number 9, John Raymond, experienced some bad luck of his own. Here, Josh Tarantino tells us about his on-track battles with John and why John's season was cut short.
My name's Josh Tarantino. This is my friend John Raymond. We've had some good battles throughout the year until the point he broke his leg.
Yeah, Josh and I were like back and forth all year long until I broke my leg, and then I just couldn't finish the season. Trying to keep up with Dustin and Tyler and everything. It's been really hard.
Remember,
peel out.
Number 74, Tim Tilton had mechanical problems during the season that affected his riding performance. But Tim is a smart and talented rider worth watching next year. And if you're out on the track with Tim, you can admire his riding style as he blows by you. 1992 promises to be an exciting season in the 12 to 16-year-old 80cc class. Let's take a look at some of the racers you'll be seeing next year.
Yeah. So Tyler, you got any words of advice for Josh Tarantino's first intermediate race?
Watch out for my back.
Don't crash.
Yeah, don't crash, because he'll be right behind me and he'll try to hit me.
Any words of wisdom for Josh?
Go out.
Use his head. First race. Go hard. Be aggressive.
Stay behind me.
Advise Tyler to watch out because I'll T-bone him and I'll peel out right in his face. And I advise Dustin to watch out also. Oh! Time to lap him.
He's getting cocky.
Right?
X-ray vision.
3D glasses.
Wait, I take you home. Boom, everything's gone. And I'm like...
Today's riding apparel is hotter looking than ever. It feels great to slip on those trick-looking new pants and jerseys. Put on your custom-painted helmet and go out to terrorize the competition in style. But what do you wear after the races? Smitty Surf and Sport has the answer. We sell a huge selection of the latest surfwear from O'Neill, Quicksilver, Body Glove, GNS, Maui & Sons, Stussy, and Instinct, UGG footwear, Oakley sunglasses, and more. And if you're into surfing, we carry a full line of surfboards, wetsuits, and accessories. We even give racer discounts. Smitty's offers 20% off all in-stock merchandise to racers holding current Motorcycle Racing Club membership cards. Smitty Surf and Sport, located at 2650 Hamashaw Boulevard, Suite 127 in Rancho San Diego. The 125cc class for 1991 was without a doubt the most hotly contested and exciting class of all. Race results at the beginning of the year proved it. Riders like Anthony Amaradio, Guy Battaglia, number 74 Jeff Tilton, number 381 Angelo Ingrande, number 33 Oscar Anchetta, and last year's champ number 76 Tim Stauffenbiel, all staked their claims early in the season. Many riders scored first place wins in their respective classes. Some riders only made occasional races. Some met with unfortunate circumstances. But each and every 125cc competitor this year contributed to some excellent racing action. Tim Stauffenbiel started the year basically the same way he ended 1990, by blowing away the competition. Tim talked to us about a rather interesting season he's experienced, not racing at Barona Oaks, but in Sweden.
Well, I ran Golden State, did pretty good there, a couple crashes. Been out to Europe for 3 months, did a lot of racing over there, won some big races over there. It was pretty fun. And then my second race back from being in Europe, I cracked 4 vertebrae up at Sunrise. I also crushed 6 discs. So that's kept me on my back for about the last 3 months. I think this is about my second or third race back. In the past few weeks, all I've been doing is training and training and training.
As the season progressed, novice and intermediate riders started to separate into their own banquet point levels, with the higher point potential going to the intermediate and expert level racers. Rider number 33, Oscar Anchetta, was a solid competitor this year. Out of 16 races, Oscar tallied a total of 276 points, finishing second overall for the season. Oscar has progressively improved race after race. He's given every 125cc rider at Barona a run for his money, especially this year's 125cc points champion, number 170, Dennis Dahlin. Let's listen to Oscar tell us about his battles with Dennis as we watch some classic footage of a typical Anchetta-Dahlin shootout.
Battle didn't really start till about towards the middle of end of the season. I didn't, I've been coming up on novice since the beginning of this year, and I just kept charging hard, trying to get up faster and faster. And Dennis was, pretty dominant intermediate class most of the year, but when I moved up, I just set my sights on him and, try to go for him mostly. And it's great competition. I mean, just awesome. He's a great rider. We just have, clean ride and everything. It's really great. The main thing is just concentration, press hard. I just try to be as smooth as I possibly can. Just press hard. Second's hard for me to take sometimes. So I just makes me push that much harder, you know. Well, I want to thank my 1991 sponsors. First of all, I want to thank God. I want to thank JT Racing USA. I want to thank Escondido Cycle Center, Motorcycle Dynamics, but I really want to give a special thanks to my parents, my dad. Without you guys, anything would be possible. Thanks a lot. Well, Dolan, next year's going to be great. Watch out, I want to be after you.
Taking the 3rd overall spot for the year was number 74, Jeff Tilton. Jeff was a tenacious competitor who was always right in there with the best of them. Last year's most improved rider, number 381, Angelo Ingrande, continues to improve. However, small mechanical problems and crashes plagued him throughout the season. But you can bet Angelo will be gunning for the number 1 spot next year. This kind of action between Kawasaki riders number 170, Dennis Dahlin, and number 110, Corey Byers, pretty much illustrates how the results in the 250cc class went for 1991. Last year's 250 champ, Corey Byers, ended the season with only a 29-point deficit, behind this year's champion, Dennis Dahlin. We talked with Dennis about how his goal to win the 250 class at Barona actually began during the 1990 season.
Well, last year, like about halfway through the year, I started deciding that, you know, I could beat, you know, the first place rider, Corey Byers, and we started racing more and more together. And I'd beat him a few times here and there, but I never really got a chance to win it last year. He took the championship. And then this year, as you know, I didn't race the whole series. I just raced like, you know, I mean, I raced most of them, but not all of them, and he raced all of them, so I thought he'd win it for sure. But it turns out the ones that I did race here, I'd beat him, and so I'd get the points lead on him, and now it looks like I might win it this year too. Well, next year, I'd like to win it again. You know, I mean, it made me feel good. I kind of want to get an open class started out here, you know, the first 500s, but I don't know how that'd go. For the winter, I'm going to try racing the Golden State and the GFI South Series, Winter Series, and then on a race, I'm going to try racing Mammoth again. I want to race the Trans-Cal, and I'm not sure if we're going to go to Oklahoma or anything. We might go to Tennessee. I'm looking forward to that. Maybe the Mini Olympics too. Oh, and this summer, yeah, I'm going to be going to Sweden to race too. So that'd be really helpful. Sweden, from what I hear, is more like enduro type. It's more natural terrain. There's not like a lot of jumps like Supercross and all that. And, it's got real long motos, and there's only pro and non-pro. You know, A and B. There's no intermediate or novice or whatever. So, I mean, I think it'd be fun. I remember last year when Timmy went, and he came back, you know, just flying. So that's what I'm really looking forward to. Man, it'll make me that much better too. Hopefully, I'll go pro here pretty soon within the next year, and I'd like to get a few Supercross titles and outdoor titles too. Like I'd like to win the 500 national champion. I think that's my goal as far as motocross is doing that.
Dennis's father has been instrumental in his success right from the beginning. The commitment to his son's racing is evident at all the races, from keeping Dennis's Kawasaki motocross bikes race ready to the kind of moral support a racer needs. He has managed to provide Dennis with the very best of both. We spent a little time talking with Dennis Dahlin about his son's racing and the sport of motocross.
Well, we started racing in 1979, in October of '79. Just about, you know, it's been about 13 years from ago. Our nephew rides a motorcycle. Dennis spent 2 weeks the summer of '79 when he turned 5 years old up in the desert with his aunt and uncle, and our nephew was about 7 years older than him, and he had a old Honda, 1979 Honda, and took Dennis for rides on it. Dennis got excited and said he wanted one. I told him they didn't make them that small, and Suzuki of California, which is in El Cajon, happened to have a little JR50. I saw one, went and bought it. I think something like about $259 in those days for a little bike, and brought it up to the desert, and he just started riding. He enjoyed it. The Suzuki shop said maybe we'd be interested in racing, and told us about the fine track up here on the Indian Reservation in Barona Oaks, and we came up. He enjoyed it. In fact, actually, he couldn't race his first day because all we had were tennis shoes. They didn't have boots in 1979 much for kids. We came back the next week to race, and he had those little construction boots on. All they said is have boots go over the ankle, and we have been racing almost every weekend since 1979. For 1992, Dennis has put out quite a few resumes. He has applied for a Team Green support ride. We're hoping that comes through. If it does not, we still will ride Kawasaki motorcycles. Dennis has been on Kawasaki motorcycles since 1983 when they first came out with a KX60. We think it's one of the finest bikes available to a racer on the market, one of the most dependable bikes. It hasn't always been the fastest, but it will always seem to be there when you needed it. We will be riding 3 classes this year. Dennis has elected to do that. He's going to ride the 125, 250, and 500 intermediate. And hopefully he will be sponsored by Kawasaki, Team Green. If not, as I said, we will still be riding the green bikes. Hopefully, mid this summer, we're in a exchange program with a rider in Sweden. The rider, Tommy, will be coming over and staying with us through the winter. And this summer, after school lets out, Dennis will go to Europe for 8 weeks. And we're hoping that will give him some very good experience. And then it will be up to Dennis at that time when he comes back from Europe if he elects to turn professional at that time or wait through the end of the 1992 season.
Kawasaki rider number 110, Corey Byers, came just 29 points shy of repeating his performance last year in the 250cc class. Corey was plagued all season by many problems. He also spent much of his time helping to maintain the racetrack. Corey talked to us about this season and his plans for next year.
Started out, I had the points lead, and stuff started happening. I had some bad luck, lost a couple chains. Dennis got ahead of me, and we had some good battles and stuff. And right before the mini nationals, I had some bad luck. I broke a couple ribs, and me and Dennis just, I don't know, just didn't work out for me. Next year, I hope to win the championship again, like I did in '90, and I don't know. Me and Dennis hopefully will be close. We'll be close again, and hopefully I'll come out on top. I'm hoping I get a new bike this year. I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm going to start riding my mountain bike and stuff a lot more, and run a lot more. I'm going to start working out again, try to get in better shape so I can, you know, handle the longer motos and stuff. That's pretty much it. I just need to get in shape.
1992 proves to be an exciting year in the 250cc class, with Dennis and Corey both returning to battle against each other. With a whole field of talented riders snapping at their heels, the racing should be nothing less than exciting. With established 250cc riders like number 86 Billy McClintock and number 72 Mike Williams, as well as a whole contingent of 125cc riders potentially moving up to the bigger 250s. Dennis and Corey will be looking over their shoulders and not just at each other. Another year comes to a close. The final points have been tallied. CMMC has honored its 1991 Banquet Points champions. Congratulations to CMMC, its board members, racers, and their families. Each and every one of you has contributed to another memorable season, not soon to be forgotten. As we move into the 1992 season, everyone at CMMC looks forward to another year of fun. Another year of memories, another year at Barona Oaks Raceway. This is Terry Boyd for Bob Leppold Video Productions. We'd like to take this opportunity to thank the following sponsors and individuals for their assistance in the production of this video.